Super proud and excited to announce the launch of the Gemini era, a first step towards a truly universal AI model.
Gemini, Google's long-rumored reaction to OpenAI's GPT-4, has been the subject of speculation for months now. Sometime last week, Google finally unveiled the massive project it has been working on behind closed doors. Was all the hype justified? Join us as we check out what Gemini is, what it can do, and most importantly, if it just made ChatGPT obsolete. The history of artificial intelligence has been marked by periods of so-called AI winter, in which the technology appeared to come to a halt and funding dried up. Google's announcement of Gemini, which is said to be a fundamentally new type of AI model and the company's most powerful to date, shows that a new AI winter is not on the horizon. In fact, while the year after ChatGPT's introduction has been a golden year for AI, there is reason to believe that the present AI boom is just getting started. When OpenAI launched the ChatGPT low-key research preview in November 2022, it didn't have great hopes. It was essentially a test of a new interface for its large language models, LLMs, that generate text. But the chatbot's ability to do so many things, from synthesizing essays and poetry to answering code questions, impressed and frightened many people, igniting the tech sector. Many experts were so alarmed when OpenAI introduced their latest GPT-4 LLM to ChatGPT that they implored the business to slow down. There was already little evidence that anyone heeded the warning. It's unimaginable now that Google has increased the ante and possibly changed the rules of the game with the announcement of Gemini. Google had already rushed out a direct reaction to ChatGPT earlier this year in the form of Bard, finally launching LLM chatbot technology that it had built earlier than OpenAI but had chosen to keep hidden. With Gemini, it claims to have ushered in a new era that extends beyond text-based LLMs, potentially paving the way for a new wave of AI solutions that differ dramatically from those enabled by ChatGPT. Gemini is a natively multimodal model, which means it can learn from material other than text, such as voice, video, and graphics. ChatGPT demonstrates how, given enough language, AI models may learn a surprising amount about the environment. Some AI researchers have hypothesized that just increasing the size of language models would boost their skills to the point where they could compete with humans. But there's only so much you can learn about physical reality from the text that humans have written about it, and the difficult-to-eradicate limitations of LLMs like GPT-4, such as hallucinating information, poor reasoning, and strange security flaws, appear to suggest that scaling existing technology has its limits. So what exactly is Google's Gemini? Google describes Gemini as its largest and most capable AI model, and it will power everything from Bard to the Google Pixel smartphone line. It is now available on Bard and will be included in the December feature drop for the Pixel 8 Pro. The secret to Gemini and the multimodal AI paradigm, according to the business, is that the system is able to generalize and seamlessly understand, operate across, and combine different types of information, including text, code, audio, image, and video. Previous generations had more limited capabilities due to model stitching. Gemini is a multimodal sign by nature. According to Google, Gemini 1.0 is the model's first iteration, as the numbering system would suggest. There are numerous layers for different objectives. They all benefit from the multimodal design, and their functions are different. Nano, for example, is ideal for an on-device AI and will be available on the Pixel 8 Pro soon, whereas Ultra is designed for severe use cases such as data centers. Pro is the happy medium that Bard will be powered by. Gemini Ultra is the most powerful and capable model for exceedingly different jobs. Gemini Pro is the best model for scalability across several workloads. Also, according to Google, Gemini's performance has been carefully tested on tasks such as natural picture, audio, and video understanding, as well as mathematical reasoning. On 30 of 32 academic benchmarks for large language models, Gemini Ultra outperforms incumbent models. According to Google, Gemini now outperforms human specialists in MMLU, Massive Multitask Language Understanding, on 57 subjects. In those tests, Gemini scored 90%, while ChatGPT 4 scored 86.4%. So how was the next generation AI created? Well, according to Google, the training of Gemini was approached differently than earlier multimodal functionality. Previously, they were trained separately and then combined. That means it was good at describing visuals, but could not engage in competent, sophisticated reasoning. According to Google, Gemini was pre-trained from the start to be natively multimodal, resulting in a substantial upgrade. So let's just get to the main point, shall we? GPT-4 from OpenAI versus Gemini from Google. Ready, set, go. This has certainly been on Google's mind for some time. Google used 32 well-known benchmarks to evaluate the two models, ranging from broad overall tests like the Multitask Language Understanding benchmark to one that examines the ability of two models to generate Python code. Demis Hassabis, the CEO who supervised the development of Gemini, said that they were substantially ahead on 30 out of 32 of those milestones. He added that some of them were extremely narrow while some of them were larger than others. Gemini's clearest edge in those benchmarks, which are typically very close, comes from its ability to recognize and interact with video and audio. This is by design. Multimodality has always been an element of the Gemini strategy. Google did not train separate models for visuals and audio like OpenAI did for DALL-E and Whisper. Instead, it designed a single multimodal model from the start. In an interview, Hassabis said that he's particularly curious about how to combine all of those modes, to acquire as much data as possible from any number of inputs and senses, and then respond with equal variety. As stated earlier, Gemini's most basic models are currently text in and text out, but more capable models, such as the Gemini Ultra, can work with photos, video, and music. And Hassabis predicts that it's going to get even more general than that. He added that there are still things like action and touch, more like robotics type things. He claims that Gemini will gain more senses, become more alert, and grow more accurate and grounded in the process over time. Of course, these models still hallucinate and have biases and other flaws. But according to Hassabis, the more they learn, the better they will become. Benchmarks are just that, and the true test of Gemini's capability will come from regular users who want to use it to brainstorm ideas, search for information, develop code, and do a variety of other things. Google appears to consider coding as a killer app for Gemini in particular. It employs a new code generation engine called AlphaCode 2 that it claims outperforms 85% of coding competition competitors, up from 50% for the previous AlphaCode. However, Pichai, CEO of Google, claims that customers would notice an improvement in nearly everything the model touches. Gemini appears to be a far more efficient model, which is also crucial to Google. It was trained using Google's tensor processing units and is faster and less expensive to run than Google's earlier models, such as Palm. Google is also releasing a new version of its TPU system, the TPU v5p, which is geared for usage in data centers for training and operating large-scale models. Based on interviews with Pichai and Hassabis, it's evident that they regard the Gemini launch as both the start of a broader initiative and a major change in and of itself. Gemini is the model Google has been waiting for, the one it has been developing for years, and possibly the one it should have had ready before OpenAI and ChatGPT swept over the globe. Google, which declared a code red after the introduction of ChatGPT and has been believed to be playing catch-up ever since, appears to be sticking to its bold and responsible philosophy. Both Hassabis and Pichai said they're not willing to move too quickly just to stay up, especially as we grow closer to the ultimate AI dream, self-improving, smarter than humans AI, set to change the world. Things will change as we get closer to AGI, Hassabis predicts. Because it's an active technology, he believes we should proceed with caution but also with optimism. Google claims that it has worked hard to assure Gemini's safety and responsibility, both internally and externally, including testing and red teaming. Pichai emphasizes the importance of data security and reliability for enterprise-first solutions, which is where most generative AI earns its money. However, Hassabis admits that one of the risks of releasing a cutting-edge AI system is that it would have issues and attack vectors that no one could have expected. Google is taking its time with the Ultra release, comparing it to a limited beta with a safer experimentation zone for Google's most capable and unfettered model. In other words, if there is a marriage-destroying other personality inside Gemini, Google is attempting to find it before you do. For years, Pichai and other Google executives have waxed lyrical about the possibilities of artificial intelligence. Pichai has stated numerous times that AI will be more revolutionary to humans than fire or electricity. The Gemini model may not transform the world in this first generation. In the best-case scenario, it may just allow Google to catch up to OpenAI in the quest to develop powerful generative AI. Worst-case scenario, Bard remains boring and poor, while ChatGPT continues to triumph. However, Pichai, Hassabis, and everyone else at Google appear to believe that this is only the beginning of something truly monumental. Google became a tech titan because of the internet, and Gemini could be even greater. Well, that's it for today. If you're still watching, please hit that like button, comment, and share. And like if you haven't already. We really appreciate your support.